I think I'm streaming as per usual. Let's double check Twitch audio. It says I'm live, but it didn't refresh. Hang on, let's see if it works. Hang on, let's see if it works. Okay, can you guys hear me? All right. Hang on, let's see if it works. Okay, can you guys hear me? All right, I think that should work. Hang on, let's see if it works. Okay, is that better? Can you guys hear me? All right, I think that should work. Hang on, let's see if it works. Okay, is that better? Can you guys hear me? All right, I'm gonna. All right, cool. Okay, I'm streaming. All right, now let me make an announcement in the Discord. Let's see. This is here. Let's paste. Okay, all right. There we go. I've made an announcement in the Discord. Chris M. Yee, welcome in. How's it going? I love a race against the clock. Yum. Yeah, so I have a phone call that I have to take at 4 p.m. Eastern. And so I was like, all right, we're going to have to go fast today. And then I had tech issues, like setting up the stream, and I'm like, maybe I should just cook without streaming. And I'm like, no, let's go ahead and stream cooking. So anyway, putting on the apron. Welcome in, Durkee Blaine. How's it going? Hopefully you're doing well. Yeah, don't have too much time today, but we're going to try and get a full dish available. Worst case scenario, I think I take a phone call. I might be like AFK for like a half an hour, and then I could finish up. But anyway, that's the plan. So first things first, we're going to get some ingredients. We're going to need, oh, actually this is kind of in the way for now. We don't need this yet. Oh, I can also change to cooking. Good luck. Thanks, Durkee Blaine. I don't think I'll need luck cooking. I will need luck hitting the time limit. So, but let's see. All right, so we're gonna need this, and then I'm gonna need this. Put this off to the side over there. We'll need garlic. We're gonna need garlic press. Okay, you guys can't see all these things. And I put the chicken over here just so it's out of the way for the moment. Let's see what else. We're gonna need bulk soy sauce. And gochujang paste. Bulk soy sauce. There we go. We'll need those. I'll need a knife. There we go. Taking notes. Gonna rename it Noms Now Nom. Thanks, Durkee Blaine. Appreciate it. Okay. Let's see. I will need big pan for later. And then we can even use sesame seed oil with sesame seeds. Boom. Okay. I'm going to have to move this stuff over. So, all right. But hopefully you guys can hear me. Audio's okay. Noms, new segment name. I could be persuaded to name something Noms. I used to have this joke that people would say nom 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 around me, and I would say, "Are you calling me delicious?" I'm sure the answer was yes. Oh yeah, I just realized that normally when I cook, I have some music on. I'll put some music on. You guys might not be able to hear it, but that's okay. You guys are here to see and hear me, right? That's why you're here? Or is it the food? Do I make good food? I think I'll take a lot of good pictures of food. So, let me see. How do I get to this album? Album related. Okay, here. Stream to my speaker. All right. Gibson Lens, welcome in. How's it going, Bert? Slow jazz, says Darky Blaine. Haha, we're here for the experience. Hi, Bert. Yes. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure I'll make the time limit. Maybe. Wait. No, I want this to go through my kitchen speaker. Go. Cancel. All right. Kitchen speaker. Go. That's just coming through my phone. All right. I've literally gotten nothing else done. I'm struggling to get music playing. Please hold. You guys know how important it is, right? Okay, stop. Man, technology sometimes. Okay. Stream, kitchen, play. There we go. Okay, alright. Hello, work lurk. Totally understand, Bert. Definitely appreciate you hopping in, though. And then, Dirky Blaine says, I'm here like the Hamburglar stealing recipes. Yeah, so I'm not going off of like a specific recipe. I'm just kind of winging it. Oftentimes, I'm usually trying to just use whatever ingredients. Alright, I'm just going to deal with my onion first. Oh, this might actually be not a good one. I might have to get rid of some of this. So this has some soft, liquidy exterior. Alright, we can salvage probably the interior, but this is not looking good. Yeah, this is a very soft layer. So yeah, the real cost of wasted food is that you don't eat it and cook it fast enough. Okay, I might have to give this a rinse before I continue working with it. It is getting pretty goopy. Yeah, I think some people who see this would probably be like, I'm not gonna risk it, but I don't like wasting food, and I'm gonna cook it anyway, so it's probably slightly lower risk, but definitely get rid of anything that looks sketchy. Okay, so it definitely looked like I took a ton off. Oh, okay, this is interesting. So if you guys take a look right here on the onion, it looks like there's a divot in here and it's way wetter than everything else. So something must have like struck the onion and like compressed it. Yeah, there's an entire line that goes out on the outside here. So, oof, hate to see it. Yeah, absolutely. But you know, food safety is arguably way more important than using every dollar for food, because you'll spend a few more dollars with medical bills or treatments. Even if it's just stomach medicine. Alright. Okay, just to be extra safe, I'm gonna remove like this section. Okay, so this onion grew super weird because like it's not just here, but there's this entire other section off of the onion. So it almost grew something off of the side. But anyway, we're gonna salvage as much of that as we can. I'm just gonna cut the parts that look pretty bad off of this, but I'll use the rest of it. Okay, anyway, hopefully everybody's doing well. I've had a busy day considering I don't have a job. Okay. But I have to have this done for dinner, and I have a phone call to take for a financial thing later. So. Alright, actually I'm just going to cut these into strips because I'll probably just put them into strips into the food. Adam, thank you so much. Make extra for me. Thank you. Alright, Adam, thank you. I am going to be making a big batch. So yes, we can certainly make extra. I don't know when you're going to claim it, so I might end up eating it. But thank you so much for the bits. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Adam. Yeah, I actually came from lunch. It was my one of my friend's birthdays today, so we went for sushi. And for those of you who have known about my medical condition, I have gout, and I didn't remember last time that certain enough fish can trigger a flare-up. And so I had to watch myself today at the sushi place. I'm happy to report I did not go crazy. So. Alright, okay. I'm mostly just unwrapping this right now because then I'm going to clear this. If anybody has worked with garlic before, this is a pain in the butt. Like, it doesn't get any easier no matter how comfortable you get with garlic or how good a cook you are. Every cook basically ends up having to deal with garlic being a pain. If you want fresh garlic. At the store, they do sell things like garlic that's pre-chopped, that's in like an oil or in a liquid. You can get that if that's something that interests you and you still like garlic. Okay, we're going to chop up the rest of this onion. And you know what? I will chop this into smaller bits. So sometimes you don't need everything in a dish to be uniform. So in this case, I'm making like minced pieces of onion, and then also I'll have like little strips of onion that you saw me cut earlier. And so that'll give it like a nice texture difference. This is all presuming that you like the texture of onion or like the taste of onion, but you can always change it. You don't have to use onion. You can do this with other vegetables too. I've sometimes minced peppers and then also had pepper slices as well. Adam says, I had popcorn chicken by Pool for lunch. Awesome. I had some sushi and then I had, what was it? I forgot if I had, no, I had soba noodles with some steak and a couple of rolls, sushi rolls. So not too crazy. I'm trying to convince my friend, so my friend that had his birthday, he wants to stream. He hasn't found time to get to it yet, but he wants to stream. He would do Gunpla model building. I don't know if anybody's into like building Gunpla, which is basically like Gundam models and things like that, so. Okay, now we're gonna chop up that weird, like, extra one that was on the side. Yeah, be careful not to cut yourself. What they say is you should have a really sharp knife, because when you don't have a sharp knife, you push down really hard, needlessly, to get through a vegetable, and you might cut yourself because you're just pushing really hard. Versus, even though a sharper knife would be more dangerous to you, you have more control over it. So, actually, for those of you who did not know, I got into knife sharpening as a hobby, like, before Rubik's Cubes. So I was at knife sharpening, Rubik's Cubes, lock picking, and then sleight of hand magic. Alright, so how we deal with the garlic. A lot of people just smash and bash. So when you smash it, it should make it easier to peel. I sometimes feel like even smashing doesn't really work all the time, but it still gets stuck all over your fingers and everything, and then your fingers will still smell like garlic for days, which could be a good thing if you like the smell of garlic for days. Let's see. Durkee Blaine says, started learning balloon animals yesterday, throwing my unique spin on them. Nice. Excellent. Durkee Blaine says, love me some onions. Got some in salad now. Awesome. And then only knife sharpening I did was a straight razor I used when I was still in the Army and corrections officer. Ah, okay. Interesting. Did not know. Yeah, I find that if you're going to upkeep something, like kitchen knives when you're cooking is like probably one of the most useful things, because you'll always use your knife to cut things in the kitchen. So yeah, even though I smashed this, I still have to like kind of try to peel. It doesn't come off as easily as I feel like some people say. These are also kind of like big and weirdly shaped garlic. They're not like the small cloves that are usual. These are kind of fat. But yeah, funny story. I didn't always like onions. When I was younger, I did not like, well, as a lot of kids probably don't like a lot of vegetables, but even as an adult, I didn't like onions through, I think, college. And then what happened one year was a friend of ours was having a wedding, and they ended up having a party where they rented a bus to go to different breweries locally. We were hanging out, and afterwards we went back to their house, and there's a quote-unquote delicacy that's around here in Greater Rochester called the garbage plate. If you look up garbage plate, Rochester, New York is like the home of the garbage plate. Which is just a name, it's not really a plate full of garbage. But the traditional garbage plate, it's basically like 2 pieces of meat, usually 1 burger and 1 hot dog, on a plate of potato salad, home fries, and then it's mustard, onions, and hot sauce. Alright, why am I telling you this? Oh yeah, as part of this story, so when we went back to the couple's place after the brewery tour, they had homemade garbage plates, but somebody had cut up all the onions but forgot to take them out. And so everybody was getting ready to leave, and they were like, oh crap, we forgot the onions. They took them out of the car. And at the time, I was like, I didn't really like onions, but I'm like, man, I hate seeing wasted food even more. And so I took the onions home. I said, yeah, I'll take the onions. I'll use them for something, not knowing what I would use them for. And I literally just found 20 uses for onions and proceeded to eat them. And I realized that this is the taste on a McDonald's burger that I'm like, oh, so I kind of like the taste of onions. And at that moment I was like, all right, I like onions. So that's my story about how I like onions. Okay. I need a little bowl. Okay, so we've got this. Let me clear this. Depending on how quickly I go, or maybe I can save it for another cooking stream. I'm not very good at knife sharpening, but I've gotten to the point where I feel like I don't dull the knife more than it's worth, but I could show that sometime. Okay, alright. So now the next question is, how much chicken am I going to make? I have this entire container over here. And I could make all of it. Do I have enough stuff? I don't know. Maybe I'll use most of it. Okay, so I have a pair of food scissors here. We only use this pair of scissors for food, so don't go using every pair of scissors. These are chicken breast. I'm just going to trim them up before I cut them. They do say don't cut things on a plastic cutting board for fear of microplastics, and I've just decided I will use not plastic if possible whenever I can. We will end up cutting this in a few minutes. I did give it a rinse only because when I opened the package, it did smell a little bit. Sometimes not necessary because you're going to end up cooking it, but just to be safe. And honestly, if you're okay with like eating all of the skin and stuff, you don't need to do this, but I do it because my wife doesn't really like this part. When I eat chicken wings, I'll basically eat like the whole wing, almost basically to the bone, but I sometimes forget what they call it. Sometimes they call it silver skin. Salvage some of this. Good. Sometimes the return on investment, how much time you spend cutting something up or preparing something, is not worth it. So weigh it against the time you have and how much time you're willing to put in. So, all right. Okay, we're gonna cube this or cut it up into small pieces. What I might normally do with a knife, but barring the cutting on a cutting board thing. If you prefer, you can also tenderize it and flatten it out first. That's kind of like up to you. Whatever you want to do. So the idea here is I'm just going to get them to be basically maybe slightly bigger than bite-sized, because I'm going to end up having them sit in the gochujang sauce. Not sure how you guys eat it. Sometimes I'll eat with a fork if I'm lazy, and then there's other times if I have a pair of chopsticks. Also, if I eat noodles, I'm usually always in the mood for chopsticks, but if I eat rice, I might want like a fork and a knife, or sorry, a fork or a spoon. How am I doing on time? Alright, half an hour. Okay, cool. Got an hour and a half. Still doing okay. Still doing good. Okay, so first things first, after we're done doing all of this, I'm going to take a picture so I can show you the raw ingredients and then what we changed it into by the end. But we do have to cook the chicken completely through before we put it in the sauce, because I am not planning on having it simmer in the sauce for too long. So we're going to fully cook this, and then we will put the gochujang sauce in and around it. So yeah, full disclosure, I can get this cut up faster with a knife, but I know not everybody likes handling chicken, so I'll show you how messy it can get this way. And you also have to be careful not to cut yourself, as with a knife. Can you guys hear the music, or no, not so much? I'm curious. I guess if I hum it, you'll hear it. Yeah, I was a little nervous setting up for cooking streams because I was like, oh, what if I splatter the food on all of my equipment, like on the camera or the microphone or on my computer? And I was just like, all right, well, I just have to accept the fact that if we do this, this is what can happen. You have to accept the reality that is cooking on stream. Alright, we have a pile of chicken. Okay, do I need anything else before I start heating things up? I can do everything else as I heat things up, I think. Okay, let's see here. Well, how's this? That's okay. Can I move this over? And will it stay? Okay, we won't be able to see it that well, so... Okay, I think this is good right here. Okay, alright, let's see. Should I have the handle over here, over here? Okay, turning this on. Kind of want a lowish heat. Okay, I'm basically going to start with onions and chicken. During the meantime, I'm going to use the garlic press to press all the garlic into fine pieces, and then we'll go from there. None of the recipes I remember any of the ratios for this stuff. I may just have to tweak it as we go. Oh, and then also, so gochujang is usually a spicy, so that's this stuff. It's this spicy hot pepper paste. And usually there's also going to be a sweet element, so I think I'm going to use honey for that. Let me see if I need more light. Hold on. How's the light better? Okay, cool. More light. Awesome. It's getting darker outside. I don't know why. Okay, so here we go. We're going to use some sesame seed oil. We can use any oil, honestly, but like it'll just go along with the flavor. And right away, when I'm having it hit the pan, I can smell the sesame seed oil right away. Yeah, I'm just making sure that the bottom of the pan is covered before we go putting everything. Alright. I'm not sure we're ready yet. We'll just give it a minute. I'm going to cut my garlic so that it fits in the garlic press. Okay, I think we're probably hot enough now, so... Okay, remember, important to salt while cooking, not after. I'm not saying you can't salt after, but it doesn't really pull out. So I didn't realize this, but the way that I can envision how salt works. So salt dries things out, right? It pulls moisture out. So what ends up happening is the salt pulls the moisture out of the onions. It can cook and caramelize a little bit better, but then also whatever flavors were there concentrates a little bit better because it's not watered down. And so that's how I think of it. I don't know if that's how it actually happens, but... That's just a thought process that happens in my mind. Okay. I think we can go ahead and add chicken. Because the onions will continue to cook. You know, it almost... I came from eating sushi. This almost looks like salmon. I know there looks like to be a lot here, but that's okay. You might want to up the heat. I just added a bunch of cold stuff to it. Camera see that okay? Yeah? Okay. Let's let that cook. Okay. In the meantime, I'm going to press garlic over here. Alright, all that garlic translated to about this much pressed garlic. Not going to add the garlic in yet. Usually we add garlic towards the end of a dish. If you put it in too early, you could burn it. And right now there isn't much in there. I could probably put it in right after I start the sauce, but I'd rather just wait. So the other day I was having a conversation with my wife, and because she saw something online, like, what's the most useful kitchen utensil? And at the time, I think I came up with rubber spatula, but I think it's going to be between rubber spatula and tongs, because I'm not entirely sure. I think which one is more versatile. Both of them certainly have a lot of uses. But if you guys have an opinion, let me know. Not what your favorite is. What do you think is the most useful? Was the question. Let's see. We're gonna let that go for a minute. Because I forgot I got something for this very dish. We got scallions. I think I need all of them. I'm just going to use maybe half. So if you don't use the scallion roots, they'll grow a little bit more, and you'll get a little bit more scallion out of them. I've actually seen videos. I should probably look into it, but you can actually like put it into some soil or whatever, and then it will continue to grow. And I'm like, whoa! So I should probably do that. Okay, I think I will put about half of this into the dish while it's cooking, and then the other half I can save as a garnish. Let me just get a new bowl just to be safe. see how these are doing. Alright, some of these are cooked all the way through. Some of them are obviously still raw, because you can see where they're still raw. Okay. The onions are softened. So, let's see. I'm probably going to let it go a little bit longer. I could up the heat, but we're good. We're doing good on time. I don't have to rush. The other thing is, if you like having, what you could do is you could grill this chicken ahead of time, and it'll give it some Maillard reaction. I'm obviously cooking it now. You know what? I am gonna up the heat a little bit. There's still a lot of moisture in here that I want to get rid of. Before we move on. So you can kind of see the steam. I don't know if it's coming through on this camera. Maybe not, but. Okay, in the meantime, I haven't hydrated in a bit. I have to make myself some tea. Alright, I'll have some Victorian Earl Grey today. Victorian Earl Grey. Okay, alright. Looks like we are losing some moisture now. That's good. Know what I forgot to do? A little bit late, but they're still cooking, technically. Okay, so let's see. After this, I'm going to be adding the soy sauce and gochujang. Okay. Alright, looks like the surface of all the chicken is cooked, but some of them are still kind of raw on the inside. Like I can feel this one still a little raw on the inside, but that's okay. We're going to continue cooking it, so it'll be fine. Some of the smaller pieces are definitely hard to get. Okay, alright. Let's see here. Does this have any... Nope. Alright, hang tight. I'm going to have to quickly look up some proportions. Hillbilly, welcome in. What are we burning today? Oh, we're not burning anything. I mean, we're burning the daylight oil. Let me see here. just gonna see what proportions were used. I might have to do some math. Okay, because this is a lot more than you would be making for a thing. So, oh, we're just gonna wing it. Okay, I'm gonna turn down the heat again just a little bit. Okay, we're gonna spread this around until it looks right. I'm a little loosey-goosey because, you know, we can have a little bit more. That's okay. Lol, says Pillbilly. Yeah, so today we're making gochujang chicken. We chopped up onion, we cut up chicken breast. I cooked the chicken and the onions. Currently going to be adding in the gochujang in a minute. This is soy sauce. Alright, we're going to go ahead and add maybe 2 more of these. Okay, that looks good to me. I'm gonna get a spoon for our key ingredients. Can't have gochujang chicken without gochujang. There we go. Oh, I was gonna say this is open, right? It is open. So this is a thick paste. I may end up adding a little bit more liquid. Alright, we'll see how this goes. Okay, let's see. Alright, that's not bad. So the question is, do I want some more gochujang or other ingredients? Alright, so right now I'm going to add some honey. So we have like this natural honey that we got from a farm that ended up solidifying in the container. We took it out and put it into a glass Pyrex container. So let's add, I don't know, this much maybe? That looks okay. The problem with this solidified honey is that it's tough to get, like, so we gotta get a wet We gotta mix it, make sure it mixes very well. Yeah, I think I'm gonna add, actually no, instead of adding more like soy sauce as a liquid, you know what I think I'm gonna add? This might be as hot as it is already, but I'm probably gonna add some, let me add some sriracha to this. I think that would be fun. Okay, alright, so I think all of the chicken is basically cooked through at this point, so that's good. We have our gochujang sauce in here. Okay, let me go ahead and add our garlic and scallions. So this I want to mix in. Ooh, I got a good whiff of that garlic. Actually, let me smell my fingers really quick. Yep. I'm gonna have garlic fingers for days. I can tell. Other things, if you don't end up liking to add too much like soy sauce, you can just add water. But if you want flavorful, you can add broth. Okay, let me put in sesame seeds. These will get cooked in, but then I can garnish as well with some sesame seeds later. There is a chance that this might be too spicy. But I'm going to give it a try first. We're going to taste test it by itself. And then we will see how we need to adjust it. Alright. Let's see here. Grab this piece. Alright, here goes nothing. It's a little acidic. Let me see here. So we can add more sugar or honey, or we can add brown sugar. Let's go with more honey. So sugar doesn't counteract the acidity, but it masks it. So. Okay, once again, getting liquid on it, spreading it around. I may actually add a splash of water. Not a lot, just a little tiny bit, just to moisten up the sauce a little bit. Okay, how much time we have? Great, 15 minutes until I have to end. Alright, perfect. We're almost done, actually. Or at least we're almost done with this, and then I'll show you how I can combine it with some rice. Okay. Let's do another taste test. Yeah, pretty good. So right now I'm just scraping the sides of the pan, making sure that all the flavor stays in. Okay, I think I'm going to cut the heat for the time being. Okay, what won't I need now? I won't need really all of this now. I'm just neatonizing a little bit over here so that when I go to the next phase to assemble a bowl or a plate, I can do it cleanly. Let's go with a plate. What am I doing? So normally I would let this cool a little bit, but I'm going to use this pan again for putting together the dish. So we're going to empty it out. And then I'll have gochujang chicken all week. By all week, it depends on how much my wife and I eat this, because maybe it will last for 2 days. So okay, putting this all into this container for now. Now, some people at this point consider this pan a dirty pan, and some people would argue, yes, that's correct, but any flavor that you have behind remains there, and you could use that for something. So here's what I'm going to do. Okay, here's our bowl. Grab a little bit of water just so we can move some of that around. And we're reclaiming all of this flavor. It's not quite deglazing, mostly because I had nothing sticking to the bottom pan. Didn't have any major Maillard reaction. The other thing is that I could also end up reheating some of this like in a pan, so I could get it later, but for today, I'm not gonna do that. Okay, so sometimes you can eat this with noodles, sometimes you can eat this with rice. I'm gonna add some rice. And so one of the things is I don't like to make the rice fresh and combine it with this, especially if I'm going to do a little bit of frying, because I feel like the freshly cooked rice is too soft. Will end up breaking and becomes like super mushy. So I end up liking to use like leftover or like firm rice. Like it had been already cooked and sat for a while kind of deal. So okay, so I'm going to add just a little bit more oil. So this is sesame seed oil. Not a lot. There's already some stuff in there. I just want it to not stick, basically. And some people like to have their rice just as regular rice and then put the toppings on top. I'm going to actually incorporate the gochujang into the rice right now. So I have leftover rice. I usually make big batches and then put them in containers and then use them later. So this is just white rice with carrots and peas in it. And then while I'm at it, I also have some of my aforementioned previously created this new batch of broccoli. So I'm just going to add some of this in there too. If you like them in big pieces, you can leave them big pieces. If you like them smaller, you can break them up. Whatever. However you like it. Okay, and now I can see that we're going to need a little bit more liquid because I am having this rice absorb basically what was in the pan first, just to make sure I get it all, or as much as I can. And here we go. chunks of rice sticking to each other. So it'll take a minute for that to. Oh, hold on. I mean, up the heat. It'll take a minute for it to warm up and break apart. So yeah, if you don't like it too spicy, but you do like a little bit spicy, you can have it maybe be this color. If you like it spicier, you can grab more of that sauce from the bottom of your gochujang, and it will be more red. Good rule of thumb: the redder it is, the hotter it is. I will add a little bit more sauce though. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to take a picture of the raw ingredients. Alright, that's okay. I'm good about taking a picture of the completed dish, though. We will not miss out on that. Okay, I think we're almost done here. I'm actually going to cut the heat now. I still have a few seconds of heat left. Okay. Alright. I'm going to place this on the plate. Here we go. This is probably the moment everybody's been waiting for. The plating. So I never used to always try and make my dishes good to take pictures of, but ever since, I don't know, people were like, hey, I like your food picture. And I'm like, okay, I made it much more of a concerted effort. So. Alright, I have my plate over here. I'm just gonna scoop it out with the spatula here. Carefully. Okay, so this part is done. Let's slide this out of the way. We have a plate. And then we can garnish. Chip, welcome in. Chipperdoodle, how's it going? This is my second ever cooking stream. We have just made gochujang chicken and rice. I'm gonna grab this one, actually split it. And then I think this would probably look good with a little bit more of that sauce, just like right on the top here. Okay, first I'm gonna take a picture. Oh no, the lighting is bad at this angle. Hang on, I'll lift it up for the camera in a sec. Hang on. Let me zoom in slightly. There we go. I think that was the one. Okay, all right, let's lift it up for you guys to see. There we go. All right, well, we got plenty of time to spare, so I can take my time. I can even eat some of this. Let's take a bite. Actually, before I eat, let me wipe. Let me wipe this. Okay, all right. Kitchen safety, always important. Wash your hands, clean up. All right, here we go. Now let's go ahead and take a bite. Actually, let's make sure we get a bite with some chicken, broccoli, rice, some of this sauce that's kind of all over it. So, I mean, I'm not going to be dodging the sauce or anything. Did you remember to take a picture, Chip? Of course I did. Here, you can see it on stream prior to me posting it on Instagram. There it is. It doesn't look good, I guess, on the camera screen, but I'll post it. I'll post it in a minute. By in a minute, I mean right now. So. All right. Here we go. Okay. I'm going to hit post. All right, it's uploading. Alright, if you go to Instagram now, it should be there. I just realized I'm not connected to my own chat somehow. I had issues logging in earlier through OBS, so that's probably related. I guess I'll just do it from my phone. Here we go. There we go. If anybody wants to see it in all of its glory, the finished product. Good timing too, because I was getting a little bit hungry. Okay, let me put some of these things away. We have a half an hour. I had alluded to potentially using this time for something else, which we can do. I will have to unplug and move this out of the way though. Okay, all right. That's good. Chip says, I'm going to lurk. I gotta water the garden. I'm taking you with me, but my hand's gonna be busy. Alright, no problem, Chip. Totally appreciate it. So, the thing that we're gonna do is I'm going to sharpen my kitchen knife. So here we have a whetstone. Full disclosure, I'm not very good at this, but we're gonna do it anyway. So this whetstone has 2 levels of grit, 6,000, 1,000. For general sharpening, the lower the grit, the more material it will take off. The higher the grit, then more likely you're going to be polishing it and not removing as much. You could still sharpen it on this, but it would take longer to remove material. So oftentimes, to maintain a blade, you don't have to do really long sessions if you just do it more frequently. So today I'm not going to be sharpening the knife because it's pretty sharp. I'm just going to like kind of upkeep it basically. But first things first, I do have to put this in water. So right now I'm putting the whetstone in water because the water is basically what ends up removing the material so it doesn't stay on the stone as I sharpen or maintain the blade. So we'll leave this here for a few just so that it soaks in. I will use a regular paper towel because I don't want metal particles floating around in water to get into food or anything. So we'll do that. I'll continue eating my meal, my well-deserved meal. I do have a hard stop like a couple minutes before 4 because I do want to take the phone call. So, oh crap! I was supposed to do something and I forgot to do it. That's okay. That's all right. Alright, here's the knife that I used earlier. We'll use the whetstone on that. Let's see, this one probably needs a slight up. Let me see. Alright, let's do this one too. Okay, so I've got a few knives here that we can operate on. As I said, I'm not very good at this, but I'll try my best. I forgot my tea was over there. Anyway, take a look at how this nice like color for the Earl Grey. Delicious. All right, I'm taking another bite. All right, hopefully that's enough time for soaking. I'll leave the water nearby just because if I need to add water to the top, we will do that. Okay, from my understanding for how sharpening works, or maintaining a blade, you want to make sure that when your angle, you have your knife blade at the exact same angle as you go across a whetstone. This is like a problem for me because I'm not always like the most consistent like doing this. Also, when I watch people on YouTube do it, they can go back and forth and they're grinding like both ways. I don't feel good about doing that, so I usually just grind one way. So I just grind pushing it away from the blade, and then I'll do the same thing on the other side, pushing away from the blade. But one thing you can't be afraid of is to feel your blade. So important, do not feel your blade like with the blade. Make sure you brush across, and you'll be able to feel like how sharp it is. If you have a pretty dull knife at certain angles with the light, you can like reflect it and you can kind of see like imperfections at the very edge. Another thing that I've heard online, you can use a Sharpie and like run the Sharpie directly along the edge. And as you sharpen, you should be able to not see any Sharpie by the end. So Anyway, here we go. I've not done this one for a bit, so it probably requires a little bit. Oh yeah, and the grip is very difficult. It took me a long time to figure out like what a good grip was for handling a knife. And you have to apply consistent pressure too. So, here we go. So I'm probably gonna do, I don't know, like a dozen strokes. And then I'll flip it over. I'm not really counting, I probably should. And you are running like the entire length of the blade across the stone. So if you need to like slightly readjust. Okay, flipping back over. Back over. So here's where I use my paper towel now and just make sure I didn't destroy the knife. So you can kind of see that I took off some material. That gray stuff is knife. And at some point you can run your finger over. If you feel like metal pushing up too hard, like it's really sharp, it could be a burr, so that's like part of the metal edge like going to one side, and you want to straighten that out. I wasn't pushing very aggressively, so I'm not expecting any burrs to occur, but it's good to know about it so that when you encounter it later, that you know how to deal with it. How are we doing on time? 20 minutes. Okay, I'm probably going to end in about 15 minutes, so I'm just going to go a few more with this, and then we'll switch knives. I had a really bad angle in there when I did one. Okay, did I make the knife more dull? I don't think I did. Alright. Okay, let's do this little one. Chris says, I was going to remind you about your call. Oh, okay, no, don't worry, I remember my call. Thank you, Chris, though. Appreciate it. Definitely glad people are watching out for me. If I'm not responsible, chat can be. Alright, so this one is a little bit different in that, so like, sharpening knives that are the entire length of the blade is very nice. This one is tougher because this part has the tang almost come up to here, and the blade doesn't actually start until here. So you have to either be really good about just sharpening this portion of the blade and not hitting this part, because this part will hit the stone. So this one is awkward for me sometimes. But this one is not my knife. This one is my wife's, and she uses it to cut like a lot of things. And she doesn't really need it to be sharp, she says, but I sharpened it anyway. This is also just to note that you can only sharpen blades that are straight edges. You cannot sharpen blades that are serrated. If you don't know what that is, give me a second. I can show you a serrated knife. So a serrated knife could be like, for example, this is a bread knife, and this has serrations along the edge. There's other things like steak knives that will have serrations. And then there are, let me see. So like this is a kitchen knife. There are very tiny, small serrations. You guys can see the camera in the reflection. All right, but yeah, there's very tiny serrations on this. I don't know if that's gonna focus for you, but. There's always a fear of cutting yourself. As you get more comfortable with the blade, and it's like, oh, hey, and then you cut yourself, don't worry, that's normal. You haven't really sharpened knives until you cut yourself. To some extent, this one is a little bit easier because I can kind of run it through the length because it's not as long, but it does do this little curve thing, which I don't really deal with very well, so I end up trying to sharpen the curve separately, but that's not how you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to try and run the blade, but it's really hard to keep an angle when you're doing that. So this part will be sharp, and then like this, then maybe the tip, but then there's this, the part where the curve starts is not very good. Okay. See how this is. Okay. Oh, I feel some burrs on this side, so I need to push on this side a little bit. Sorry. Okay. Alright, let's take a look. That looks smooth. Feels sharp. The burrs don't quite feel even. Alright, I got like 8 minutes. Okay. Let's check a look. Okay, I feel like this part of the knife right here is sharper than when I started. I can almost see that this bottom part, which is where I said would be tricky, it's near the part where the blade starts, is not good. But you don't ever want to do like a single part. I'm not very good at doing the whole blade, I guess. So. All right, let me just do a couple of strokes just to see if I can even it out. Okay. All right, that feels better. All right, we'll go with that. Okay, I don't want to speed run sharpening knives. That seems like a bad idea. So I'm just going to do this at a reasonable pace. Actually, I'm not even sure this is that dull. All right, we'll sharpen it anyway because we're already here. So this one has a similar problem like this, but it kind of tapers off. So I don't know if we can tell, like, it tapers off a little bit. So it's not like an all of a sudden it comes out kind of thing. But like already I'm hitting up against the handle a few times already. As I said, I'm not good at this. I think with more practice it would come better. I don't sharpen my knives that regularly. Okay. Just gonna run this through one more time. And I think we'll be okay. All right, let's take a look. Yeah, we got some there. Let's see. All right, I think it feels fine. All right, in the interim, I'm gonna go ahead and put this into the water. I'm gonna rinse that stone off. I'm probably going to get ready to end now because by the time I'm ready to end, it'll be a few minutes, and then so this way I will have enough time. All right. And then the thing that we need to do is clean up. So, yeah. Here. I can hop back up here. No, there's nothing to look at. Okay, all right. Oh, I just realized the lighting over here, I mean, probably doesn't matter anymore because I'm going to be ending in a minute. So, all right, let's see who is on. And then we can raid out to somebody. You know who we haven't raided in a while? Actually, yeah, let me see if mute tab. See what they're doing. Okay, cool. Excellent. All right, she's still going, and we can raid over there. Okay, so. All right, guys. Thanks for coming out today. Thank you for hanging out and watching me cook gochujang really quick. And we did it. We did it in less than 2 hours. No problem. So, okay. We're going to be raiding Unfocused in IA, if you guys are familiar. Musician, also variety streamer. Oh, I just realized I can't type in there. As I said, I am not connected to my chat through OBS. So hang on. Let me do it over here. Yeah, I gotta get that fixed, or it's just for this computer. My other computer is fine. Raid Unfocused in IA, aka Nalani, and she is a musician, a gamer, does all sorts of variety stuff on stream. But right now she's doing music. So, and actually, if anybody didn't know, she was the very first raider into my first stream, or she was the first raider that I've ever gotten since I started streaming, so nobody can ever take that away. But anyway, Okay, so I'm gonna. If anybody wants to copy a raid call, there's a raid call. Here's a sub raid call, and then here is. I'm gonna start the raid. There, okay, and then yeah, we'll go over there. Anyway, thank you guys very much for coming and hanging out with me today. Hopefully you guys had fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the cooking stream, and maybe you learned something, maybe not. Or if you just wanted to see me sharpen knives, you got that at the very end. So there you go. All right. Oh yeah, guys, if you are not following our friend and mod, Gibson Lens, please give Gibson Lens a follow. Let me, I just realized, man, having chat not work, this might not be fast enough, guys. Hold on. It's kind of annoying. All right. Everybody give Bert a follow. All right. Okay, all right. Anyway, so everybody take care. Good to see you. We'll see you around next time. I don't know when, I don't know what, but probably before Sunday, I'm guessing. So, all right. Take care, and we will see ya. I'm gonna raid now.